So, bringing us to the final topic of the night, we have Anime Dartboard, the segment of the show where we review, where we discuss as a book club, a 300 maximum 50-minute anime, 12 episodes with an English dub, and we discuss it, and then we pick another one from my plan to watch list. We had da 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 Ashita no Joe the movie, aka Tomorrow's Joe, which originally came up in a Sacking Mal Eternal episode, which I specifically chose because I didn't want to watch like a 200 episode anime, and I was like, if the movie is good enough, maybe I'll watch the entire anime. So what did I think? What did you think? Because I trust you as the audience, definitely watched this movie with an English dub. You had 2 months, so I know you did it. I trust you. Don't lie to me. You did it. Do I think it was good enough to have watched the entire anime? Probably not. I think it was decent. I enjoyed it more than I would have thought. Did he? Now here, someone remind me. Did he lose the final match? Because I think he lost the final match. I know famously, in the second anime, he dies. Because that was like a big plot twist in Megalobox, is that the main character didn't die. And it was supposed to be like a reference to Ashita no Joe. But I think he actually loses in this. So I guess in Season 2, they wanted to one-up it by having him actually die or whatever. But yeah, I love that the main character went to the Rocky School of Defense, which is that there's no defense. Can we talk about, he's like, behold, my ultimate boxing style, the zero defense style. I put my hands down and I let you punch me in the face until you're tired. Fucking Rocky Balboa in this shit. I will say Rocky Balboa was more realistic because the man had fucking brain damage from getting punched in the face too much. But yeah, a good portion of this was not dedicated to him in the boxing ring at all. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm almost wondering how that reflects in the original show, because he didn't get into the boxing ring until the last half hour or something hour of the show. And there was a lot of build up to this where he was going into juvenile delinquent school and he was fighting people. So, excuse me. I'm betting you it was 30 episodes before he even hit the fucking boxing ring in the original series. So I think that's interesting. Also, I'm assuming the original series gives more information as to why he kidnapped those children, because the movie certainly doesn't, and they seem to be very fond of him. So that was one of those moments where I think the movie could have done better. It is now paper time. Good night, Tech. All right, Kaido. Well, thanks for stopping by. Have a good night. We're almost done anyway. Good luck with your paper. Hope you get it done in time. But yeah, so I would say that I would have liked more elaboration. I think the movie probably dropped the ball on not explaining why he kidnapped those kids. Is my input on that. But yeah, otherwise it wasn't terrible. It wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't my favorite or whatever. The thing is, I don't think there's anything too much to talk about on this one. Because really it was I will say I kind of didn't like the main character. Wasn't he a bit of an asshole? He was a bit of an asshole, wasn't he? Yeah, he was a bit of an asshole. So, yeah, I wasn't... He was constantly, a smarmy little shit brat. So, I wasn't, a big fan of that. And obviously his trainer, sort of ruined everything for, lashing out on, the boxing association. So it's a good thing he managed to make it into the boxing association. But that part felt a little unrealistic. If a guy goes fucking crazy and beats the shit out of the entire boxing association, I would expect that man is in jail. So it's a little crazy that, Joe got in jail for, kidnapping children, but, not really kidnapping children. But, his, trainer didn't end up in jail for just beating the shit out of the whole boxing association. That felt a little unrealistic. So. Anyway, yeah. Does anyone else have anything to say about Ashita no Joe, the movie? Shuffle. 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 Nope, didn't think so. Shin Shirayuki Hime Densetsu Pre-Tier. I was in my school's book club. I can't even play sports. Isn't Pre-Tier the magical girl anime about the girl in the tutu? Pre-Tier, the new legend of Snow White. Due to her father's remarriage, robust, damn, girl! I forgot that was in my room. I just hit my own fly trap. I'm not drunk, you're drunk. Fuck you. Himeno Awayuki moves into a large mansion. For the record, I hear this is fantastic anime, by the way. What is this? 715? This is like on a lot of people's like top magical girl anime list. There was a goth club that was a bait and switch because it was a club focused on studying architecture? What the fuck? Awayuki moves into a large mansion with a beautiful garden, the quintessential dream house for any girl her age. However, much to Himeno's disappointment, her new stepfather doesn't really seem to like her, as her stepmother often occupies herself with her father. Her younger stepsister, Mawata, what the fuck kind of name is Mawata? Holy shit. Ignores her, and her other stepsister, the equally aged Mayune, tries to prank her at every opportunity. Holy god damn. You can tell they're the ugly stepsisters because their names are fucking trash. But Himeno doesn't have time to dwell into thoughts of hopelessness. Her new life has now become involved with a group of 7 magical boys known as the Leaf Knights, after they ask her to become a magical princess who can borrow their powers. Although Himeno accepts their request and becomes the Pre-Tier, she feels doubtful in her abilities to protect the world and its leaf, the source of energy for all life. Will Himeno be able to find her new family and also save the earth from the enemy, the Princess of Disaster? So this ends up in a lot of people's... I know exactly why this is on the list. This doesn't sound good, and it doesn't look good, and it's got a very bad average score. This ends up on a lot of people's like best magical girl anime list. Evolution of Magical Girl Anime Edition Part 2, A Girl Can Dream, 90s and 2000s anime, more than 12,000 anime that were good, start Part 8. So yeah, this is clearly on here because this is like, apparently this is a lot of people's, like this is, as far as magical girl anime, this is apparently pretty solid, which is surprising. Actually, that something with such a like low MAL score is considered such a high tier magical girl anime. Because a lot of people put this on their list, but like this is like shockingly low compared to something like a Nanoha or a Madoka or something like that. So yeah, we're going into anime history on this. Hopefully you like magical girls. I am recently restarted my campaign. My tabletop role-playing game campaign centered around magical girls because I love magical girls. Maybe it's a guilty pleasure. It's also possible that like a lot of these lists are created by people that like they're just like drawing popular anime that don't actually watch anime. Like a lot of it's like what is it, CBR and shit like that like don't know the shit. If I were to actually, okay, real talk. Here's your real magical girl anime watch list. All right? Cutie Honey Universe. Sailor Moon. Do you need to watch 90s or Crystal? Watch 90s because that's what most people actually watched, but I would genuinely say watch both. But watch 90s. You know what? Watch both. Fuck you. Watch 90s and Crystal. 90s. I agree with 90s. I do agree with 90s. But I actually think, because Crystal's more comic accurate, I would actually say watch both. I would say watch both. So watch Cutie Honey Universe, not the original one. Watch Cutie Honey Universe. Watch 90s Sailor Moon. Watch Sailor Moon Crystal. Go ahead and watch Cardcaptor Sakura just because it's a classic. I personally haven't, but you should. Watch Nanoha to completion. Watch Madoka Magica. And you can go ahead and watch fucking Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card. Do I think I'm missing any major magical girl? And we're assuming you're watching like every relevant entry. You don't have to watch like the Sailor Moon movies or something from the 90s because a lot of that is just bullshit. But like watch every major season. If you're going to watch Crystal, just read the manga. The weird thing about Sailor Moon is that the manga has a horrible pacing. Crystal's not bad in Season 3. Season 1 is a little awkward because they jammed 2 seasons in one. Eternal's terrible, but that's because there's no saving Dead Moon Circus. There's no saving Dead Moon Circus, for the record. But the Cosmos movies, the 2 Cosmos movies, are so good, actually. So I actually would recommend watching Crystal. That's Regio. But watch 90s before Crystal. Neku Neku Girl? Who the fuck it? Goddamn, Mac Tier. God, you pulled so hard, even I don't know who you fucking referenced. What the fuck is Neku Neku Girl? That's actually impressive. What the fuck are you talking about? My dog, Tokyo Mew Mew? No, you don't need to watch Tokyo Mew Mew. Tokyo Mew Mew is a good show. I enjoyed Tokyo Mew Mew personally, but if we're talking foundational magical girl anime, foundational, must-watches only, the icons of the genre, you need Cutie Honey, you need Sailor Moon, you need Nanoha, you need Madoka. You need Sakura. Those are your 5. I may have given that. I fucking assume. Those are your 5. Those are your 5. And I hate to say this because it is 700, moving into 800 episodes. You might want to watch Precure. You might, at very least, want to watch the original Precure season. Those are your 6. Those are your 6 magical girls. Those are your. You don't need. Frankly, if you watch those 6, I doubt you'll need a single other magical girl. Like, there's like some subversions, like Magical Girl Sight or some shit like that, or like Daybreak Illusion, but like and like Yuri Yukiona, but like those are your shit. Those are your 6 right there. That's all you fucking need. Sally the Witch is a big one. Oh God, what's the super famous one that dies? She gets killed by truck. She's like the most famous example of truck-kun. Minky Momo. But yeah, you probably, like, real talk, when people think magical girl, they think post-Sailor Moon era. So Sailor Moon into Sakura, into Nanoha, into Madoka, into Precure. No, that's slightly wrong. Because if we look at the timeline, it's actually Sailor Moon, Sakura, Nanoha, Precure, then Madoka. I'm missing someone. Cutie Honey. I'm missing Cutie Honey. Cutie Honey, Sailor Moon, Sakura, Nanoha, Precure, Madoka. If you get those, that's it. You're done. You're done. You know magical girls well enough. My coworker is trying to get me to rewatch Madoka. I was pressuring into watching Madoka with my friend. I did not have a good time. I did not like Madoka. I thought Madoka was boring as shit the first time I watched it. It was like a 4 out of 10 for me. The second time I watched it, it became a 5 out of 10. And then I rewatched it with Grandma Sack. And I think I swapped it to a 7? Yeah, it's a 7. Madoka Magica is an anime that gets better the more you watch it. I gave Grandma Sack Magical Girl homework. I was like, Grandma Sack was like, I don't know what a magical girl is. And I'm like, girl, you're about to. So So I made her watch Cutie Honey Universe, 90s Sailor Moon up till season 3. She didn't have to watch season 3. Nobody needs to watch Dead Moon Circus. Dead Moon Circus is bad. Then I made her watch all of Crystal. And then I made her watch all of Madoka. And we didn't watch Cardcaptor Sakura because I personally have not seen Cardcaptor Sakura or Precure. So, anyway, who made this? Junichi Sato. That name sounds vaguely familiar. What did you make, Junichi Sato? He apparently voice acted in Mahotsukai Tai TV, which we watched the original OVA as part of Dartboard, if you remember. He directed something I don't know about. A Whisker Away? I don't know what this is. I'm not a big, what is his name? Guro Butcher? That sounds wrong. Uro Butcher. Urabuchi? I think it's Urabuchi. Gen Urabuchi. It's Gen Urabuchi, isn't it? It is Gen Urabuchi. Gen Urabuchi. I was close. Yeah, Gen Urabuchi. Wow, that is not a flattering picture. I wasn't talking about the show itself. Yuki Kaijira did the music for Sword Art Online, and that shit's ass. I will defend Sword Art Online. The show is... Okay, look. The first half of Season 1... The biggest problem with Sword Art Online is it doesn't divide its seasons well enough. Season 1 is pretty fucking good. Like, the first half of Season 1, when they're in not when they're in Alfheim. When they're in Sword Art Online is pretty good, and then they go to Alfheim. And Alfheim is... I think Alfheim gets too much flack because of the incest angle, frankly. I think modern anime audiences should get more comfortable with anime incest. We've had anime incest forever. Look, at some point in anime, someone's going to fuck their sibling. And you just got to get used to that, all right? That's just how it went. Look, sometimes your fucking siblings and your like step siblings or your half siblings and your sibling is fucking sexy. And you're like, well, what am I going to do about it? You know what I'm saying? I want to be very clear. While I'm saying that, I'm well aware of how absurd the words coming out of my mouth is. And you're hearing me break down for my own jokes. Koikaze. I enjoyed Kiss Sis, I believe. But anyway, yeah, I'll acknowledge Alfheim is definitely weaker. Oni-chan. I'll acknowledge Alfheim is weaker than the Sword Art Online arc. People get so fucking mad about when, like, Kirito asks the creator, like, why did you do all of this? And he's like, I don't remember. And I am so consistently shocked that people don't realize he's lying. He's fucking lying. Oh, God, how do you not know that? Obviously, he's being facetious. He's saying, like, mind your own fucking business. I'm not going to tell you. Look, I'm going to tell you, like, if your genuine issue with Sword Art Online is his line of, I don't remember, I'm going to fucking spoil it to you right now. The reason he did Sword Art Online is so that he can find someone to more accurately distribute the seed, so he can increase the amount of virtual worlds that exist, because he exists inside of the seed and he can more easily spread his existence throughout reality. Like, the man himself has essentially become a god through the distribution of the seed and seed-like protocols, which were the foundational units and programs and engines of Sword Art Online. Like, the existence of Sword Art Online has allowed this man to exist in multiple realities. Do I think pure immortality is his end goal? No. I do think it was actually more altruistic. I think he was trying to create alternate realities based on the video game seed programming, and I think it was more like altruistic, where his actual design was to create a system where video games created through the seed program and the procedural generation allowed multiple people to exist in facets of existence that would otherwise be unrelated to reality. But at the bare minimum, his existence is propagated through the seed program, which is distributed through the Sword Art Online. Like, if you genuinely thought he didn't know, I don't know what to tell you about that. Like, and this is why it gets on my nerves so much when people are like, the something witting entertainment version of Sword Art Online is better, because they gave him a real reason, because they so comically missed the fucking point of Sword Art Online. Like, the reason I will hold to Dragon Ball Z Abridged is the best abridged anime version is because it held to the spirit of Dragon Ball. The people who made it were Dragon Ball fans. They understood the spirit of Dragon Ball. They understood what Dragon Ball was trying to say, and they moved in that direction when they created it. There is a clear, almost disdain created by Something Witty Entertainment when they create Sword Art Online Abridged. And I will not say that I do not enjoy it, but to say it is better than the original is fucking baffling, because they have so comically missed the point of the fundamental underlying themes of Sword Art Online that they have fundamentally fucked themselves. They are incapable of telling the story of Sword Art Online as far as Alicization, because they have so fundamentally misunderstood what fucking Sword Art Online is about. It is baffling to me. It is a level of hubris and incompetence that pisses me off to no fucking end. Now, again, Something Witty Entertainment made an entertaining abridged series, but to say it is better than Sword Art Online is fucking absurd. They have backed themselves into a fucking corner with their writing because they were incapable of sticking to the actual script of the original, because, as baffling as it sounds, Reiki Kawahara knew what he was fucking doing when he wrote Sword Art Online. I'm not going to say he was a good writer. I think he had his better moments. I think Gun Gale Online is probably the peak of his writing, but he did successfully create War of Underworld, which is the best written war arc in any anime I have ever seen in my entire fucking life. Like, the man gets better as writing as it goes, and the hubris to assume that you could fucking surpass him by just making some bullshit up and making pop culture references is fucking absurd. It is fucking absurd, and it is infuriating. I feel similar when people get annoyed that Adachi's answer when he was asked why he does things and people are was because I could and it was fun. I feel like everything about Adachi, from shit he says and his general demeanor, you get the vibe that his answer fits all of that. Adachi's probably the best thing about P4 aside from setting. I don't like Adachi personally, but I would be lying to tell you that Adachi is not a realistic character. Like, people are saying, like, Adachi doesn't have a motivation, so he's not sympathetic, so he's not a real character. Like, so many serial killers would have answers exactly like Adachi. Like, Adachi is so real that I find him boring as a person, is my thing. Someone once said the investigation team were expecting to find a villain like Shido, but in reality, they get an angry incel. Pretty realistic, I guess. Yeah. No, I'm not going to say Adachi isn't realistic. Adachi is super realistic. That's actually why I don't like him. I think he's so realistic, I find him boring, personally. But I understand why someone would enjoy the realism of Adachi. I find most abridged parodies to be not all that funny. I've seen some mixed results. I enjoy a lot of them. I think DBZA is like the peak. Because the thing is, Team 4-Star knew Dragon Ball. They knew Dragon Ball, they respected Dragon Ball, they clearly liked Dragon Ball, enough to move in the correct direction. Excuse me. Something Witty Entertainment, with SAO Abridged, they made a good adaptation, they made a funny show, they made a good show. I did enjoy the show. I'd be lying to say I didn't enjoy the show. But they didn't make Sword Art Online. Like, DBZA made Dragon Ball Z. They made it. To the point where I would say they actually made it better, because they moved in the same direction, but more consistent, but also with the comedy and the drama integrated. Whereas SAO Abridged is not Sword Art Online. They didn't even attempt it. They didn't attempt to abridge it. They tried to make something better. They tried to make something else, and in doing so, they failed to create Sword Art Online. Which is why I'm saying, like, you cannot produce... Like, they even said they're like, we don't think we can do Alfheim. We were just planning to stop at the end of the first game, because, like, they really wrote themselves in a corner. Because when you get the creator of Sword Art Online coming back at Alicization, how are you going to do that with his motivation presented in SAO Abridged. You can't. They fucked themselves. They genuinely fucked themselves because of a fundamental misunderstanding. They assumed Sword Art Online was worse written than it actually was. No, I'm not going to say it's like the perfect written. I genuinely think the Caliburn arc is trash. Just god awful garbage. But like, and I am not a fan of fucking Mother's Rosario. But Reki Kawahara is not as bad of a writer as people think he is. And a lot of people hop on this meme that Sword Art Online is bad and it's terrible. And only stupid people like Sword Art Online. And they don't bother to engage with Sword Art Online as a medium. And they refuse to acknowledge the fact that like Sword Art Online has things going for it. And you can clearly tell that like Something Witting Entertainment had a disdain for Sword Art Online when they go into it. They were clearly not fans. So they didn't understand it enough to engage with it on a fundamental level to understand where the author was coming from. And so they have fucked themselves. They have fundamentally fucked themselves. I have no idea how they're going to do Alicization. They can't. They have to stop or they have to completely rewrite the entire series. They have genuinely backed themselves into a corner because they did not understand the media that they were working with. Shit fart online. I'm not saying you have to like Sword Art Online, but I have to. But the main takeaway I'm trying to say is that like their dislike of Sword Art Online has fucked them. Like they can't adapt the series based on the changes they made. They have to change the entire story. Now they have fucked themselves because they were incapable of seeing that like maybe the author knew what he was doing. Adachi was definitely a good change of pace from previous Persona villains like Guido, Narlithotep, Takia, pretty much as a nihilistic businessman obsessed with the occult, an evil god, and a crazy cult leader. I'm not saying he wasn't. I personally do not like Adachi, but I don't hate people that like Adachi is, if anything, one of the most realistic Persona villains. Shido's pretty realistic. Like, if a businessman had access to mind-controlling psychic powers, I'm sure he would try and run for prime minister, to be honest with you. But, like, Adachi is, like beat for beat, code for code serial killer. He's like, why'd you do it? I don't know. It was fun. I could. Fuck you. So I'll never be one of those people that say Adachi's not realistic, but I'm going to say that, like, Adachi's realism is why I don't like him. Like, he's so realistic, I find him boring. But anyway, that's enough about my... I don't even hate SAO Abridged, because I do actually enjoy it. I think it's funny, and I do like it, but I hate the attitude it has towards the original, because I actually do think SAO is a worthwhile series that gets better as it goes. Like, again, War of Underworld is really good. Like, really good. Shido feels like Hikawa or Guido if they didn't have occult magic, sort of. Shido was like mustache twirling evil, but like, is he unrealistic? Like, ask yourself this. Like, if a businessman came across the ability to mind control people and murder them in their minds, would he pass that up? Like, if you had like no morals and you were like a rich politician, would they pass that up? Right? Can you not see a politician trying to sexually force himself on a subordinate while drunk? Can you not see that? Like, is Shido... Can you not see him leveraging his political influence to fuck over a teenager that was trying to stop his, like, a sexual assault of a woman? Like, you can't say Shido's not a real dude. Like, Shido's a real dude. It is, like, almost eerily so. Hikawa wanted a world with no emotions. Guido wanted to be a god, but he also wanted everyone to just be him. So... But anyway, yeah, Gen Urobuchi. I'm not a big Gen Urobuchi fan. I have sort of mixed success. I really do not like Fate Zero. I fucking hate Fate Zero. Like, genuinely, 2 out of 10 hate Fate Zero. Breaking news, duck found in lake. Holy shit, that is breaking news. What kind of duck? What the fuck were we talking about? I got so passionate about defending Sword Art Online that I forgot we were talking. I liked Fate Zero. I really don't. I really don't. I will say that like you can probably guess part of my issue is like episode one is boring bullshit that no one cares about. Genuinely, if you care about episode one, it's only because you've seen Fate Zero multiple times. Because episode one is boring bullshit that like no one cares about and has no effect on the rest of the franchise. Also, it's because Gen Urobuchi, being the famous woman hater he is, has a clear disdain for Saber. And as you know, the only Fate character I care about is Saber. So the fact that Fate Zero has a clear disdain towards Saber causes issues with me. I'm not going to necessarily say it's terrible. Like, I don't think it's terrible. I think it has issues, for sure. Like, if I were to break it down on a writing level, I would certainly have issues with, like, the portrayal of, like, Giles D. Reyes and the fact that no one at any point finds out the information about Gilgamesh, but in Fate Stay Night, they immediately figure it out. I mean, like, come on. Like, there's some writing issues with Fate Zero, but, like, genuinely, my number one issue is I absolutely hate everything going on with Saber with that. Because, like, Gen Urobuchi's hatred of women is clear towards the way he treats Saber in that, and the fact that I really don't care about anyone in Fate outside of Saber is, like, a big factor of that. No, I get that. Like, I don't... Fate Zero is one of those ones where I get why people would enjoy it. Like, it's not one of those ones where I hate it. It's just, like, personally, what I want out of Fate is Saber. And I hate how everything Fate Zero does with Saber. Like, the fucking, Banquet of Kings or something is terrible. It treats Saber real fucking bad. I was actually a pretty big Xander fan until that scene, in fact. A lot of stuff about Saber not being a good king was in the Fate route of the visual novel. It's like her main thing is she wants the Grail to change the past, so she wasn't a king. No, I understand that that's her objective. I don't like Saber. See, there you go. There's the difference right there. Yeah, no, like Saber's the only character I care about, really. I care a little bit about Shiro. I think Shiro's a little interesting. Shiro's an interesting character, but like as I've said before, if Fate isn't about Saber or Shiro, I don't give a shit. I genuinely don't. I don't give a shit about anyone that's not those two characters. And a big thing is like I don't like Nasu's writing, as evidenced by the soon to be released and increasingly released Garden of Sinners videos, where you will watch me progressively hate the series more as those videos go. Spoilers. Shiro's funny because him and Rin were originally the same character. I don't like Rin. I know a lot of people love Rin. She is a generic-ass tsundere to me. There is nothing about Rin I enjoy. I like Sakura more than I like Rin. And I know there's a lot of Sakura haters. Genuinely, I prefer Heaven's Feel to Unlimited Blade Works. The coolest thing about Unlimited Blade Works to me is the final battle between Shiro and Gilgamesh. Also, I kind of don't like Gilgamesh anymore. Just because he's, like, a huge rapist? Like, can we talk about that? I will say I think Tsukihime is better at story than Fate. I could totally see that. Like, just watching the Tsukihime anime versus Fate, I think a better fleshed out version of Tsukihime is probably more enjoyable than Fate. Like I said, the only route I'm, like, super strong about in Fate is, like, the Saber route, because I only care about Saber. Like, the big takeaway is I only care about Saber. I don't really like Type Moon stuff, I think, is what I've realized as I've engaged more with it. And I've engaged with a good amount of the anime. The Garden of Sinners is terrible. That's it. I'm just dropping it. I'm about 50% through the rewatch. I'm going into movie 6, so I still have 6, 7, 8, and Future. And I can't imagine the next 5 are going to be any better. But we were somehow supposed to be talking about Pre-Tier, the new Legend of Snow White. Why did I say Gen Urobuchi? How did we get to Gen Urobuchi on this? Sato Junichi worked on this. Now that I think about it, I have 2... I actually think, outside of the original Studio Dean 2006 Fate Stay Night anime, which I absolutely love. I would probably enjoy a proper Tsukihime adaptation. If they made a proper Tsukihime adaptation, just based on the original Tsukihime anime, I would probably actually enjoy that more than I would like Fate Stay Night. Because Fate Stay Night especially like hit special aspects to me because I was a big mythology fan. But the mythology in Fate Stay Night is actually a lot of bullshit. Like, it gets worse as it goes. So I would probably enjoy a full, proper Tsukihime adaptation more than I would anything else. Although I would like a proper Avalon route. Like, Avalon ending Fate Stay Night adaptation would be my ideal. Or Hollow Altarexia. I really wish they would finish the Fate story line, because they're like mostly going with like Grand Order and shit, and I don't pay attention to Grand Order. Although I will say the Camelot movies were pretty good. If anyone's ever seen the Fate Camelot movies, those were pretty good. Now, granted, you might notice that I am pointing out a Fate storyline that also happened to involve Saber, more specifically Goddess Rongiminiad. So my love of Saber might be showing, but you know that I think about it, I do have 2 Tsukihime art books. Yeah. I enjoyed the Tsukihime art. Like, I know a lot of like hardcore Tsukihime fans are like, the anime's trash, but I enjoyed the abridged anime version, so I think I would probably enjoy a full version. Like, I would be interested in a full-on Tsukihime anime adaptation if they like did a proper one. I think Nasu's tightest written novel is with On the Holy Night, because the problem with Fate and Tsukihime is mainly the roots and shit. There's so many regular singular narrative that Tsukihime comes close with the excuse me. I can't read that. I know who the character is, though. On the Holy Night was originally a single novel that became a visual novel, so it's just a linear story. Well, anyway, yeah, I'm not... The more I realize is, like, I don't like Nasu's writing style. Although I do acknowledge that Gen Urobuchi did Fate Zero, but I don't like Gen Urobuchi's writing style either, to be fair. The thing is, I have a lot more Type Moon art books than I thought I did. But I don't think that's uncommon. I think Gen Urobuchi rubs a lot of people the wrong way. But I will say that, like, Madoka Magica has grown on me. Nasu's problem is he loves his magic system. It's overly complicated. I will say that, like, Paradox Spiral, like the 5th Garden of Sinners movie, gets super into it. And I'm like, I don't give a shit about this. Like, this is for... The thing is, here's what I'm going to say. A lot of people, he came up with that shit when he was a teenager, and he's not stopped writing about it. Here's what I'm going to say about magic systems. A lot of people will hold magic systems as the end-all, be-all of a narrative, but the thing is, if your magic system isn't supporting your narrative and isn't working in goals of your narrative, it's sort of useless. So, like, overly elaborate magic systems don't do anything for me. They actually detract from a series. I don't care about how intricate and overly detailed your magic system is. I want your A point to go to your B point. That's all I give a shit about. I don't care about how much you thought about the Counterforce, or the fucking Akashic Records, or about third magic. I want to know how point A goes to point B. That's the only thing I care about. The best description of it comes from Witch of the Holy Night, because it wrote the first time he wrote it, so he had to explain it in a way that actually makes sense. It's not great in Garden of Sinners. I'll say that right now. Like, I understand it, but it's stupid, is the problem. The bigger problem is the more I learn about this magic system, the more I don't like it, is the thing. Because, like, it keeps adding layers, and I'm like, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about any of this? Why would I care? How does this serve the narrative? Just say character A wants MacGuffin. That's it. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know about any of this fucking bullshit nonsense. So, anyway. And then they have, like, 2 names where they're like, oh, yes, the fucking derivative force is the same thing as the counter force. And I'm like, then just call it one of them. Why do you need 2 names for the same thing? You're just using synonyms. Shut the fuck up. That's actually the downside of Garden of Sinners Tsukihime, because they name drop shit from it without expecting you to know. I will say the movie explains it well enough. Outside of stray thoughts, in like movie 2 where it's like stray thoughts, and I'm like, the fuck is a stray thought? I will say that I think it's an accurately enough, like, I can probably guess what it is just based on the name, but like, they don't explain it, so I just have to guess. So give me our crew name drops reality marble. I think you mean reality marble, and never explains what that is. I will say that I know what a reality marble is mostly from. I was gonna say I mostly know about it from like Fate Zero, because I think Fate Zero gives you the best description of what a reality marble is, but. No, I mostly know about it from external sources and comments in the wiki and shit, because a reality marble constitutes your own version of reality being different from the original version of reality, and then applying, like a layer over it. Isn't that correct, or am I making my own bullshit up right now? Because I've used concepts of overlaying realities in my own overly elaborate magic systems. My biggest issue with Natsu is he writes magic systems like I write magic systems. And that annoys me. It's called Marble Reality and Garden of Sinners and Tsukihime, at least in the translation. Yeah, I believe if you look up on the wiki right now, it's Reality Marble. I think it's pretty definitively Reality Marble. Because that's what they call it in everything else. Yeah, it's Reality Marble even on Type Moon Wiki. Hold on. Let me close that. Yeah, reality marble. Materialization and projection of one's inner world onto the following thaumaturgical theory world egg. See, that's... Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. It's just a fucking aim field from certain magical index. In certain magical index, they're like, it's an aim field. Like, shut the fuck up, Nasu. Fuck you. Anyway, yeah. Pre-tier. We should probably stop talking about my hatred of the Nasu-verse. Saber's best girl. I love Saber. If it's not Saber, I don't care. Except for Shiro, which I kind of like. I do kind of like Shiro. I like Saber, and I like Shiro, and I like Saber interacting with Shiro. And that's it. I think everything else is terrible. Garden of Sinners, at least the first half, is bad. And worse than bad, I think Overlooking View is actually harmful and could potentially cause more suicides. I don't think it ever has, because I don't think anyone has ever committed suicide due to Overlooking View, but it uses rhetoric and thought processes that enforce suicidal ideation, and I think it's a very harmful piece of media, and I think the portrayal of rape in Lingering View, or Lingering Sense of Pain, is, I wouldn't say harmful, but I would definitely say it is juvenile and tacky. It's just not good. Like, the use of rape throughout the series, it's juvenile. Like, my main issue with Garden of Sinners is it's, like, I summed it up as, like, edgy teenage bullshit. It is, like, not... It's genuinely not well written. It's just like shock value for the sake of shock value, discussing topics that the author is clearly not mature or nuanced enough to properly tackle. It is just like juvenile, fucking banal, immature bullshit. It is like, and like, I don't have any sort of like disdain or judgment for the people who enjoy it, but it is like real low class, like lowest common denominator shit is the problem. And like you see that sort of like writing and that like cliche genre driven like uncreativity reflected even throughout Fate Stay Night. Like realistically, like Rin is just a fucking tsundere. Like there is nothing to these fucking characters. Like Nasu's not a good writer. Like he might get better as the series goes on, but as far as the anime adaptations go, it is like come have standards. If you're a fan. I'm drunk. I might walk this back while sober. If you're a fan of Garden of Sinners and Fate Stay Night, have fucking standards for yourself. You deserve better. You deserve better written bullshit than Garden of Sinners and Fate Stay Night. You're worth more than that shit. Watch better shit. God damn it. At least the Tsukiyame Garden of Sinners... It's just there's a lot less magic going on in just murder. I don't understand. Have higher standards. Have higher standards. Request your media engage intellectually with the subject matter it's willing to engage in. If someone brings up rape or fucking suicide, make them fucking discuss it in a fucking mature, well thought out, properly constructed manner, rather than just saying the first bullshit that comes to their fucking mind. God damn. It's actually harmful. There are psychological studies that show that the thought process implemented in overlooking view is actually harmful. The fucking rhetoric that they use in the first Garden of Sinners movie actually causes suicides. And it's an anti-suicide movie. It's so bad. It's so fucking bad. Holy shit! Oh. Oh, holy shit! You want to read some real edgy bullshit? Go read Beauty Labyrinth of Razor. Oh god, that sounds terrible. What is this? What is this? Hold up. You caught my interest. Anyway, we're done. Go watch Pre-Tier, The New Legend of Snow White. It's on there because it's apparently a famous magical girl anime.